Mel, how do you think she would unlock her Mangekyo Sharingan?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even care for the Mangekyo. I mean, if they do
That's
it,
a
it's
hot take.
fine. If they
Yeah,
do it,
there's the
it's
hot take you
perfectly.
wanted.
If they do it, it's perfectly fine. For me, I've always said any kind of dojutsu mutation would be applicable. I mean, the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is just dojutsu mutation. Same thing with Mangekyo, except with the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, you take an external source and then you apply it into the internal, and then a mutation occurs, and then you get a new power. Theoretically speaking, you can apply the same principle. Apply random external mechanic 1 into Sarada's internal, and then produce an entirely new Sharingan that we've never seen before. And via the writing, or however you choose to write it,
Hey,
you
how
can
about
produce
this, Mello?
a new power.
Like I was saying before, like we've never seen somebody with a Mangekyo Sharingan get a Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan on top of that Mangekyo in order to make it EMS. When somebody gets a Mangekyo in order to make it that EMS, if I'm not mistaken, you have to get somebody else with a Mangekyo and implant that into your eye. They have to be like a blood relative or something close to that.
Right. I think the science established in the series makes that make sense. I think if you took Sasuke's Rinnegan, if it's not like damaged or whatever, beyond repair or whatever, and you transplanted it inside of Sarada, I do think it would produce something new. I think that does make sense. My only contention with that would be, and it's not a real like solid contention, but it would be, I'm not entirely sure what the mechanic is that mutates the external Sharingan. Like, I'll give you an example. Like Sasuke, he took his eyes out, and then he took Itachi's eyes and put them in his head. I don't know what triggers the mutation of Itachi's eyes in Sasuke's head. I don't know if it's a Sharingan to Sharingan thing, or does that apply to different eyes? Like, for instance, you took Hinabi's Byakugan and transplanted it inside of Toneri. That seemed to have produced a different result with the Tenseigan. But like, that's two different like lineages, the Hyuga and the Otsutsuki, even though they stem from Hamura, which probably makes them compatible for the organ donation, I would theorize. But with Sasuke, it's like they're the same. They're like blood relatives.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the answer. Now
Yeah,
that I'm talking
exactly.
myself into it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's simply because they are such blood relatives and they are from the same clan. It would
Yeah,
cause
it
a
was said you.
mutation.
I think it said you had to be like a very close relative to even
Yep.
do the EMS thing. So that's another thing I was wondering. Itachi's eyes were blind, and it worked. You put blind eyes inside blind eyes, and it cured the blindness somehow. So, like, would Sasuke's damage to Rinnegan be fine then? Like, or is it because it
You
was
make a good
physically
point.
stabbed that makes it different? Like the eye was Itachi's eyes weren't exactly good. They were damaged in a different way. So is it because it was physical damage that would make it not work? I don't. It's kind of
Well,
weird
That's an
because
we
impactful
don't.
question.
The way you brought it up, as far as like both of their eyes were blind and it somehow cured the blindness, I think that actually makes a lot of sense that it would work with the Sarda. But I could be mistaken. Mello, go ahead. I think you had a take on that.
No, I was gonna say, I think they're two different instances. So if you look at like blindness that occurred with Itachi's eyes, it was from like strain. Um,
yeah, it's
now,
like very different like cause.
Yeah.
right, right. So I think that would stem from like the actual brain, right? Like the eyeballs connect to the actual brain. So the strain that starts, I would say, I don't want to get this mixed up, but my point is this: it makes sense that if you place the eyes that were affected by the brain of Itachi inside of Sasuke, then Sasuke's brain didn't how do I want to say this? Like, store the strain of, like, Sasuke's brain doesn't have the history of strain that Itachi's had on his eyes. Therefore, once you take Itachi's eyes and put them in Sasuke's head, it wouldn't be applicable. If that tracks. And then the thing with the Rinnegan is like, is it external damage versus internal damage?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what
Damage
I was saying.
caused on
It's
its
like
own.
yeah.
Right.
So that I can see why it wouldn't work for that reason, but I can see why they could say it could because of that. It's just depends on how they want to write it. I do
Has
think
it
it
ever
makes
been
more sense that it
stated?
doesn't.
Has it ever been stated that you need both of their eyes?
It's just
No,
very
no.
implied with
It's
those
always
like
plural.
images where they had like the four eyes like stacked on top of each other. It's kind of like implied. You would, I mean, you might be able to do like one eye EMS, the other eye goes blind, I guess.
I
But
don't even think it's possible that if his Rinnegan is stabbed, that transplanting it inside of Sarada's head would actually heal the stab. I actually don't think that's
yeah,
possible.
I don't. I'm not. I would lean towards what you're saying too. that it wouldn't work. Like it would just stay damaged.
Since
But I can just see how they would argue.
maybe that was the reason why Orochimaru, like, I don't think Orochimaru knew that Sasuke was going to get his Rinnegan stabbed out or anything like that. But maybe
Dude,
that's
he knows
why,
everything
about the
He
Rinnegan,
knew.
exactly. So no, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that he had like precog and he knew that he was going to get it stabbed out. So he was like messing with the Rinnegan and did the Shin Uchiha thing. But maybe the Shin Uchiha like arc was just to give us the knowledge that Orochimaru knows way more about the Rinnegan than we actually know. So maybe that's how Orochimaru could be implemented in the story in a good way. So where he's like adding the actual value to the leaf and stuff like that. So he repairs Sasuke's Rinnegan because he knows the mechanics of the Rinnegan, how it works, how it operates to a cellular level, I would assume. So if the best person to repair the Rinnegan, it would be Orochimaru. And I think Orochimaru will kind of have a soft spot for Sarada since that is one of his students because, like it or not, Sasuke was Orochimaru's student. So I think Orochimaru would help out Sarada in a way so she can unlock a higher power just like he would Mitsuki.
I'll take any excuse for Orochimaru to actually be in the story. So that's fine by me if that's how they do it.
Couldn't Orochimaru just make like a synthetic Rinnegan?
Honestly, probably, because wasn't Shin's a synthetic Sharingan?
Yeah,
Or was it
Mangekyo
not?
Sharingan. Yeah, synthetic
so-
Mangekyo Sharingan.
Yeah, could he just... Yeah, he might be able to do so. I mean, because to be honest, like, in the war, he and Kabuto already, like, almost figured out how to make the Rinnegan. Like, they didn't have the reasons quite right, but they figured out how to do it with the Hashirama and Madara thing. They just had they thought it was Senju and Uchiha, not the Indra reincarnate thing. But so he kind of already back then knew how to do that. So like by now, yeah, he probably has like 10,000 hidden in his lab, for all we know.
You know, Kekkei Genkai, it's not anything special, to be honest. It's just like basic biology. It's like when we discovered DNA. Once you got it, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
So Orochimaru gave Mitsuki Jugo's Kekkei Genkai. He literally took the Kekkei Genkai from like an extinct clan and gave it to like this boy. So if he can do something like that, he could definitely reproduce something. You know, potentially. I'm not saying he can definitively, but the potential is there in the lore for him to do the same for any Kekkei Genkai that he has studied extensively. So,
Yes, exactly.
And just to wrap that up, I would say Sasuke, he had the curse mark, and the curse mark stemmed from Jugo's Kekkei Genkai to absorb sage energy naturally through like glands in his skin. So that's the thing that made Sasuke compatible with Jugo, that saved him from Killer Bee's lariat. So potentially there is a healing factor there with Jugo's Kekkei Genkai because Sasuke's body is compatible via the curse mark that he had on him for so many years, and the potential is there for him to save his Rinnegan potentially. Just an idea though.